when you reflect on your international career, Jonny, what are the biggest things that you're most proud of?
To be honest, I have to pinch myself at times. You know, I've now just moved into my new home back in Kent, in Tunbridge, and sorting through boxes and seeing like memorabilia of things that I've been to and with Wales throughout the years, and yeah, I have to pinch myself at times because, you know, Euros, World Cups, they're things I could have only dreamed of as a kid. My goal was, you know, to play one senior game for Crystal Palace as a kid, so to go and go to them tournaments, is major for my career and just my life experience to do that with Wales and playing with them for so long as a kid to achieve that, and obviously scoring. I managed to score 2 goals for my country, but that feeling of scoring for your country is huge, and representing them at major tournaments there, you know, yeah.
As I say, you said earlier you were pinching yourself at times, but you really did play alongside some very high calibre players, putting it mildly. I mean, out of all the ones that you played with, who were the sort of standout ones? I mean, obviously there's some obvious names, but just if you can articulate for us, that'd be great.
Yeah, obviously Bale and Ramsey at the time, world class. But we had, the main thing that stuck out was them 2 world class players, not only world class players, but world class people. And they kind of set the tempo for the rest of the group and what followed, really. There was no egos, it was just a real togetherness, and I never really saw any egos. If I did, it was kind of, in my opinion, one squad and that was it, because that wasn't the way we were going as a nation. And the other ones that stand out for me was obviously Joe Allen.
Oh, yes.
He obviously played for Liverpool, played many times for Swansea. Top footballer. I think he got a team in the tournament in 2016. He was that good. Again, top bloke. He was a pleasure to play alongside. Ben Davis obviously played for Tottenham for, I think it must be testimonial year maybe, or it must be his 10th or 11th year there. To stay at that level and to play at that level for a long time. Top footballer and a leader, and he'll probably go on to captain Wales for a few more years. Obviously, when Aaron comes to the end of his time with Wales, I'm sure he'll be the natural leader to step in, because he's great in the dressing room and leads on the pitch. So I'd say them 2. Obviously, the obvious ones in Gareth and Aaron. Them 2 have been phenomenal as well. Obviously, Joe's retired now as well. But, yeah.
When you talk about players like obviously Gareth and Aaron, there, you know, they're say world-class players, aren't they? What is it that they do, apart from their obvious quality behind the scenes, that sets them apart from the rest?
On the pitch or off the pitch?
On and off.
On and off. On the pitch, they let their feet do the talking, really. They're naturally gifted footballers that have been blessed with an unbelievable talent with the ball and without, and obviously they've got that desire to improve, to work hard, training, always setting the tempo. Obviously when they're fit, they train to 110% and set the stall out for everyone else, because if you see them boys doing it and working at that level, and Craig Bellamy was the same. I was only young, but the way they set, lead by example, really, and all the young boys coming to the squad, they learn quickly and see what needs to be done if you want to play for Wales. So I was fortunate enough to have them boys to look up to be honest.
And what were they like with their time in terms of like helping you? I mean, because I suppose when you've got players like that, it'd be daft not to sort of tap into their vast knowledge of the game.
I think first like off the pitch, in terms of being a person, first and foremost, the way they treat their teammates, not just their teammates but the staff. Every staff member is spoken to with respect. I know should be a given in life, but in football sometimes it's not. And I've played with many teammates that probably do struggle with that, but they just respected everyone like everyone was even, and that's how it should be. And they treat people with respect, and a lot of people respected them for what they could do. So I learned massively off them too. There was times I was playing in the Premiership in the Welsh squad, times when I was playing in League Two in the Welsh squad. They still treat me the same. They still treated a young boy coming up for the first camp the same as, say, Wayne Hennessy on 100 caps. They're very, very, very nice people that were incredibly gifted. And pleasure to learn off and play alongside.
I mean, some people might have been surprised when Gareth decided to hang up his boots, but I suppose it's great, isn't it, to retire on your own terms and, at the top of your game.
Yeah, I think he'd achieved, I'd say almost, he'd probably like to have won the Premier League, I'm sure.
You won a few other trophies.
Yeah, so I'm saying he won 5 Champions League, so he achieved everything he set out to. In going to the World Cup and scoring at the World Cup, getting Wales there, scoring the 2 goals in the playoffs. It might have been 3 actually. I think it was a bit of not a fairy tale ending, because we didn't perform to the levels we knew we can. To be honest, we would have liked to have obviously progressed out the groups, but to score, to go to a World Cup, to take your nation there, really, the goals and performances you've done in qualifying, and then score at World Cup. It was a great ending for him, and
I just want to rewind back again, because you played Sheffield United. Gary Speed, of course, was a former player for them, a former manager, and of course, someone actually you obviously crossed paths with yourself, because if I'm right in saying, he didn't give you your debut, but he called you up for the Welsh squad for the first time, didn't he? The senior Welsh squad.
Yes, and an amazing man. Only got to. In the short time I spent with him, obviously knew all about him as a footballer. Growing up as a football fan, he was a Premier League legend. Would have watched many of his games as a kid, and in the Welsh team as well. As I was making my way through the youth ages, watching Gary Speed play in the senior setup with some great players as well. It's a phenomenal bloke. That's got huge respect throughout the football world and at Wales as well. Just still to the day, you just no idea why, or you're asking yourself why for years and years to come. But I just remember being in church that day on a Sunday and walking out of church to hear the news on the Sunday morning that, he'd passed away, and tragic news. I'll be eternally grateful for him giving me that call up into the senior setup and showing that belief in me as a 17-year-old to come and work alongside the likes of him and Bellamy and Gabardon and some top Wales players, and obviously the superstars that were coming through at the time. I was still a baby, to be honest, and he looked at me and believed in me and thought it was good enough. I'll be eternally grateful for that.
When you got your call up from Gary, where were you, and just sort of describe the emotions of that moment, to be told that you're going to be in the senior squad?
I was at Palace at the time, at the training ground. Been told that, I've been asked if Stuart Pearce had come in and asked me if I wanted to be part of their setup in the England under-21s. I think Wilf might have been asked the same day, because I knew you could play for Ivory Coast and England, so there's 2 of us that were coming through into the first team, and we've both been asked the same thing, are you sure? Because once you play for the first team you can't change, obviously, so we got asked them questions, and he started with Ivory Coast and I started with Wales, but it was a very short conversation with Pearce. I'd already made my mind up as a kid. As soon as I pulled on the Welsh jersey as a 14, 15-year-old, that was the team I wanted to play for, and country I wanted to represent. So my dad was very happy, and I think it was definitely the right decision. I had some great memories, but that all started from obviously Speed showing that belief in me to call me up into the senior team, get me involved with.
And what was it like when you first met him? Did he offer you any advice, or what did he say to you when you?
He offered me a drink. I think it was,
he bought you a drink?
No, he offered me a drink. It was a coffee or hot chocolate or something. I remember us sitting down Straight away we met up at St David's in Cardiff. He took me into the bar straight away and kind of said, like, you're good enough to be here. Don't just think it's like a token call up. You're playing at a good level, you're playing well, and I want you to be in the senior team and just enjoy it, really. Enjoy the experience and enjoy playing with these players, and this is kind of the start of your future kind of thing. And, not every manager would do that. I was only 17-year-olds, and he sat me down and took 15, 20 minutes to kind of get to know me as a person as well. And I think, I didn't get much time with him, but them small moments I'll always remember.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Chris Coleman gave you your first call up. I mean, what was he like to work with?
Coleman gave my debut, bit by default. I think Bale had a stomach bug away at Scotland, so no pressure coming on for him at half time, being 1-0 down in the derby, but we ended up winning 2-1 in the last minute, so an unforgettable debut that was. But Chris Coleman did an unbelievable job. It wasn't easy for whoever came in at the time after what happened with Gary. Tough, big shoes to fill. We were playing so well with the national team. We had a great mix of senior pros and young pros, and obviously the superstars that were starting to blossom, beating some good teams. And there was a bit of a transition period before. When Coleman came in, we had some bad results, and there was a bit of a backlog, understandably, of what happened, and we were all still in shock for a long time, and I'm sure Coleman was as well, being a good friend of his. And it was tough, but for Coleman to go and do what he did makes the story extra special, I think, off the back of what happened. It was, I remember we got booed off and we lost 6-0 to Serbia, or 6-1. And I remember Coleman and the team getting booed off. I was our new substitute, but I was thinking this isn't looking great, to be honest. And to turn it around like he did, and what the players bought into what he wanted to do, and we became a real solid unit first and foremost. I just would give everything for each other, and obviously we had 2 superstars in that team as well, which obviously helped. But